We started InBiz up in the north of England 19 years ago now, and we started it totally to help people move from unemployment, particularly long-term unemployment, into real sustainable self-employment, jobs that they could create for themselves that would probably go on to create jobs for others as well. And we started in a very small way up in the northeast. We had a contract to create 50 new businesses on a couple of very difficult and rundown council estates over a period of 2 years. And we did this, and effectively on the back of that we've been asked to do it elsewhere ever since. The result is now that we do what we do nationally. We've helped just short of 24,000 people move into legitimate self-employment, sustainable self-employment, and we do that now from 60 centres across the UK. There are a whole lot of things that tie us into this campaign, and why we're very, very pleased and privileged to be asked to be involved in it. And the first one of these is that at least 40% of the people that we work with are actually to some degree working in the informal economy. Depending on how you define the informal economy, it's probably really higher than that, but certainly at least 40%. And for me, this is an absolutely, totally natural phenomenon. It's the most natural thing in the world. It's the real world. It's the way people get business ideas and develop business ideas. They do it quite often from hobbies. They do it from the fact that they have the skills from a job that they used to have possibly, and get asked by friends and neighbours to use those skills to do a little bit of work for them. And quite often, in terms of a business or small business in the informal economy, it's something that sort of creeps up on people. If we think of a mobile hairdresser, perhaps a lone parent who's had to quit a job or lost a job when she had children, and initially she does her mum's hair, she does her sister's hair, and then the lady next door said, "Stolan, who did your hair?" "My daughter did it." "Well, would you come and do mine?" And all of a sudden she has 3 or 4 people that she's regularly doing her hair for. Then it might be 10 people, then it might be 15 people, and people are looking out for her on the estate where she lives and using her services. And she'll come to us at this point and say, "Hey, I think I've got the makings of a business there." Now, strictly speaking, that person has committed a criminal offence. She's probably taken money while she's been on benefit, she hasn't declared it for tax and everything else. But we were talking earlier about the likelihood of there being anybody in this room today, from the top politicians down to the likes of us, who haven't at some time either been involved in the informal economy or used the informal economy. And the answer is, it's very, very unlikely that there is anybody here, or there's been anybody here that hasn't. So from my point of view, my organisation supports the whole idea of the informal economy being a testing ground for small business. We've spent a lot of time and energy over the last few years, and I hope we're able to spend a lot of time and energy going forward in helping people make that transition into legitimate business. I won't bore you with lots of statistics, but there are a couple of things that I believe are very important. 85% of the people that we help make that transition are still trading at 2 years down the line. 81% are still trading at 3 years. They actually, even though most of them are small lifestyle businesses, they go on to employ people. So for every 100 people this month that we take and we move off benefits, off the informal economy into business, in 3 years' time there are 112 people working in those businesses. So this is real, permanent, sustainable jobs. It's a result, it's cost effective, and it's beneficial to the government that we do that. But it's very beneficial to the individuals and to the communities in which they live, because a lot of these businesses serve the local communities. One last statistic that I'll throw in that is nothing to do with what we do. This is one of these things that is just a fact. and that is that wherever you start 100 businesses, whether you start them in a rundown council estate down the road, whether you start them in somewhere near where we are now, where there's a lot of money and a lot of investment, for some reason 6 out of every 100 become what we would class as significant growth businesses. And that statistic doesn't vary. If you start 100 businesses across the road here, or you start 100 businesses in one of my big council estates up in the northeast, 6 of them will go on to be significant businesses. Quite a few of them will create millionaires. We've created quite a few millionaires now from people who've moved from benefit and gone through this system. And those 6 will be significant employers, providers of services and providers of products in their community. My message to the politicians, to the civil servants, to anybody who will listen is, don't jump on people who are starting the business like this. Don't criminalise them, but actually encourage them. Let organisations like ours work with them to take them into formality. The sad thing is sometimes that when you read these headlines in the paper, people who've got caught things, there's actually provision within the system now that they could have built and developed their business, retained part of the benefit and been okay. But the information still isn't good enough. The understanding still isn't good enough. So that's the other thing we need to do. We need to let everybody know what is currently available, because a lot of it doesn't get taken up. But we need to keep lobbying going to make sure that there is more available, because the potential for this is phenomenal. 15% of people who are actually working in this country now work for themselves. It's widely prophesied that 20% are going to be self-employed by the year 2020. So the reality is that for 1 in 5 people who are currently unemployed, the biggest potential is to go forward and actually work for yourself, and the informal economy is quite often the testing ground for that. That's why we're here today, and that's why we're supporting this campaign. Thank you.